Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're starting a fascinating new chapter called Control and Coordination. Have you ever stopped to wonder how your body just knows what to do? How you can walk, or talk, or even just breathe without having to think about every single little action? Well, that's what we're going to explore today.
Just picture this for a moment. You're in the kitchen, and you accidentally touch a very hot pan. Ouch. But what happens? Before you even have a chance to think, oh, that's hot, your hand has already pulled away. How did it happen so fast? What's going on inside our body to make that happen?
And it's not just about these quick reactions. Think about other things, like how you automatically blink when a sudden bright light flashes in your eyes, or how your heart keeps beating day and night without you ever having to tell it to. And look, even plants do it. A plant kept near a window will slowly bend towards the sunlight. None of these are random actions, you see. They are all part of a very, very smart management system working inside all living things.
So, here's our plan for today's lesson. First, we'll understand what control and coordination actually mean. Then, we'll learn about two very important words, stimulus and response. We'll also see why coordination is so essential for survival. After that, we'll look at how different living organisms coordinate, including a special look at plants. And finally, we'll do a quick recap of everything. Ready? All right, let's get started. All those examples we just talked about, the fast hand movement, the slow bending of a plant, they don't just happen by chance. They are all the result of this amazing internal system that we call control and coordination. At the end of the day, it all comes down to one thing: survival. Every single living organism, from the smallest insect to the largest tree, has to react to changes in its surroundings. This ability to respond is what helps them find food, escape from danger, and basically, stay alive. So let's break down the term. What is control? Well, in simple words, control is the power to manage or regulate all the different activities happening in an organism's body. It's about doing the right thing at the right time. And what about coordination? Think of coordination as teamwork. It's the process where different parts and organs of the body work together in a proper sequence to create a suitable reaction. So, control is about power and regulation, and coordination is about working together smoothly. Now, to really understand how this whole system works, we need to learn its language. And the two most basic words in this language are stimulus and response. First up, what is a stimulus? A stimulus is any change in the external or internal environment that an organism can detect and react to. In our example of touching a hot pan, the heat was the stimulus. Let me repeat that. A stimulus is any change in the environment an organism can react to. And what is a response? That's easy. The response is simply the reaction of the organism to that stimulus. So, when you pulled your hand away from the hot pan, that action of pulling your hand away was the response. So again, a response is the reaction to a stimulus. So, you see, it follows a very simple and logical flow. First, there's a stimulus, some kind of change. Second, the organism's body detects this change. And third, the organism reacts with a response. Stimulus leads to detection, which leads to a response. It's a fundamental pattern for all life. Okay, so we have a stimulus and a response. But why is the coordination part in the middle so important? I mean, what would happen if our body parts just responded without any teamwork? Well, it would be complete chaos. Think of it like this. Imagine a very busy traffic crossing with lots of cars, but no traffic lights and no traffic police. What would happen? Yes, total chaos and accidents, right? Coordination in our body is like that traffic controller. It makes sure everything works together smoothly without crashing into each other. Or let's take another example. Think about a cricketer on the field, about to catch a fast-moving ball. Their eyes see the ball, their brain calculates its path, and their muscles move their hands to the right place. All of this has to happen in a fraction of a second. If the eyes, brain, and muscles did not work together, what would happen? They would miss the catch, for sure. That's why coordination is so vital. So, coordination is absolutely essential. But do all living things coordinate in the same way? Not at all. As life evolved, different organisms developed different strategies to manage this complex job. In animals, including us humans, there are two main systems that do this job. First, we have the nervous system. This system uses fast-moving electrical signals. You can think of it like sending an instant message or an email. It's super fast. Then we have the hormonal system. This system uses chemical signals called hormones that travel through the blood. This one is a bit slower, more like sending a letter through the post office. Both are extremely important.
Okay, that makes sense for animals. But what about plants? Plants don't have a brain, they don't have nerves, so how do they control and coordinate their actions? Let's take a closer look at the amazing world of plants.
You know, it's very easy to think that plants are inactive, that they just stand there doing nothing. But that's not true at all. Plants are constantly, and I mean constantly, responding to the world around them. They respond to light, to water, to gravity, even to touch.
Have you ever seen the Touch Me Not plant? We also call it Chui Mui in Hindi. The moment you touch its leaves, they quickly fold inwards and droop. It's not magic. This is a very rapid response. It happens because the plant changes the amount of water in the cells of the leaves, causing them to fold. It's a fantastic example of a plant responding quickly without any nerves or muscle.
Plants also respond in a much slower way, by growing. When a plant's growth is directed in response to a stimulus, we call it a tropic movement. For example, when a plant stem bends and grows towards light, we call this phototropism. Photo means light, and tropism means movement, so movement towards light. So how do plants manage all this? They use their own chemical messengers, which we call plant hormones. For example, a hormone called auxin helps the stem grow longer and is responsible for the plant bending towards light. Then there are gibberellins, which also help in stem growth. Cytokinins promote cell division, especially in fruits and seeds. And there's also a hormone like abscisic acid, which actually stops growth and causes leaves to wilt and fall. It's a complex chemical language.
Whew. We have covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? So before we wrap up, let's just take a moment to do a quick revision of the most important points from today's lesson.
So, what did we learn today? First, that all living things respond to changes or stimuli in their environment. Second, to respond properly, they need both control and coordination. Third, animals use two systems, a very fast nervous system and a slower hormonal system. And finally, plants, which don't have a nervous system, use chemical hormones to coordinate their growth and movements.
Today, we've learned that our nervous system sends super fast messages. But that brings up a really interesting question, doesn't it? How does it do that? How do these amazing electrical signals actually travel through our body? Well, that is exactly what we are going to find out in our next lesson. I hope you'll join me for that. See you then.